Act has been officially completed as President Bola Tinubu signed into law the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Despite a groundswell of public outcry and bold antagonism by various interests, Tinubu rose stoutly in defense of the controversial bill as he assented to it. On his part, Senate President Godswill Akpabio stated that the Electoral Act 2026 will ensure that every Nigerian's vote counts. Now that the president has given his assent, are we back to the refrain of go to court if something goes wrong during the elections? Joining us on this show to review the electoral reforms is Ene Obi, a human rights and social justice advocate and former country director, ActionAid Nigeria. Good morning, Ene Obi, and good to have you on the program.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, two things. Some people have complained about the speed with which President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the bill into law, which was very controversial. What's your reaction? And then the second thing is Festus Keyamo, saying that so many people are presumptuous. A group of regulars in front of the National Assembly carrying placards, which includes your good self, I assume, television commentators, social media activists, and then the 15 senators that protested in the Senate, and the less than 45 out of over 300 lawmakers in the House of Reps, that they have arrogated to themselves the illusion, the assumption, the delusion that they are speaking for the generality of the Nigerian people. And he says, how did they arrive that is the position of the Nigerian people? In other words, the minority arrogating more authority to itself than the majority. Those two issues.
Thank you very much for having me on the program, and well done for the great work that you and colleagues are doing. It's been a long walk, and like you already noted, this is one of the fastest bills ever signed into law. And what that signifies, because I remember the 2022 Electoral Act, all of us were on ground. You remember from 2015 down to 2022, it took 7 times for it to go to the President Muhammadu Buhari, of blessed memory now, to sign the bill into law. And even when he was signing it, there were so many contradictions, and some of those contradictions came in from the National Assembly. I remember a friend called me from the National Assembly to tell me that you guys are on the street. This was 2022, 2021, 2022. You're on the street, but the president is not going to sign that law because we gave him what he wanted, but we put a clause there. You remember the popular clause then, and then, so he said he was not going to sign it, but we said, the president, you promised Nigerians that you are going to sign this into law. Sign it and take it back. He signed it. They felt he was stubborn for signing it, and eventually when he took it back, they of course flushed it back into his, they did not do the amendment that he took it back for. When we are talking about, the stage of things now, when I look at the copy that I have gotten, I hope the Gazette is soon so that it can be available to everybody. You see the Amendment Act, is talking in the first place, it talks about, that's the Electoral Act. It talks about the regulation of, the conduct of federal, state, and area council, in the Federal Capital Territory. What was the speed? The speed, what was it about? Is it about, the FCT elections? Election is being on the ground, and the elections have been announced with using the law that was on ground at the time. So are you going to ignore all of that and now say, because when you bring in a law, You have to also allow time to pass and let people be trained to know what the law really is. But in terms of the mention, they said area councils. I didn't see local government there. And I'm looking at it, I said, okay, they went down to go and mention, they went to the mention, I think section 60, brought us back to the real issue that we're talking about. And in section 60, of course, they did all the analysis. Section 60, subsection 1, is that the presiding officer shall, after counting the votes at the polling unit, enter the votes scored by each candidate in a form, prescribed by INEC. They know what they're talking about already, but you look at subsection 3, the presiding officer shall electronically transmit, the result from each polling unit to the IREP portal, and such transmission shall be done after the prescribed ECA has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer, and so on and so forth. But they stamp it now, so we are now going to be looking at INEC. You are now saying, it has to be signed and stamped. We know that they have gone to elections before, and then you don't have either the ink pad and so on. The preparation of INEC is very, very essential, despite the fact that they are reducing the time. From what the Senate President said, every voter, every vote will be counted. Every voter, they will ensure that the votes are counted. In India, we have 980 million registered voters, about 64 million, 640 million, voted in the last election. That very day, the election, everything came out. And from the long history, Nigerians had advocated for even electronic transmission, electronic voting, which will be, you can see live in terms of the progression of the elections. What we have asked, yes, you can accuse us and say, why are we out? Why are we talking? You are the true representatives. What I can tell you, Ruben, that certain things played out in this particular incident. You had so many, with the House of Representatives, they had no problem. It was massive voting for the electronic transmission completely, mandatory transmission. And then we come to the Senate. But at least you could see that when they now adopted the Senate version, whatever the Senate did, at least some sanity came up there, that there are still some Nigerians that are standing upright for Nigeria. The love of country should be what should control our hearts. What is your love of country? What is your patriotism, the level of your patriotism? I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. What have you really done? Can you go to bed with it? After we have long progressed, because going into 2023 general election, when we went for off-cycle elections, because I was the convener of the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room at the time, and so we are moving from one point to the other. But at least some people stood up and said no. And then another dimension that I see in it was when Senator Abaribe got up and said, people have to be counted. And Senator Bagdeli Okwemi, came out to protect him for that. I think that is something good that Senator Bamidele was a students' union president in Uniben when I was a student, and I was students' union president at the University of Jos. People have worked together. They need to stand up more, and we need to see the attitude. I am happy at the House of Representatives when they turned it around. People protested. And that is what we want. It means there is still sanity, because wherever there is huge corruption, there is still a level of sanity. We are going to focus seriously. We are mobilizing, because we can't just say we are going to be quiet. We will let them hear our voices. How we are not happy about some of the things that have been done. If I
may interject.
Yes.
Festus Keyamo, the Minister of Aviation Development, says you don't speak for the Nigerian people. How did the civil society activists, social media activists, and the minority in the National Assembly arrive at the assumption that they are expressing the wishes of the Nigerian people?
So this website that I'm on right now lets you invest into real estate for as little as a few $100s. It doesn't require...
It's unfortunate that someone like, Keyamo can say that. He was on this side before. Ruben, you know that. And the attitude of people by saying that because these people, Tinubu is in power, we cannot protest. Tinubu was on the other side. He used to come to the barricade. Or was that a fake attitude? Because if you see the level and the transmission of this attitude, and then we are just before the FCT election. You know what happened in the FCT? President Tinubu lost in the FCT. And you know the law, the Supreme Court, we are going to really focus on the judiciary. The Judicial Commission will focus on the Ministry of Justice, will focus on it. NBA need to take up and hold their members accountable for what they are doing to this country, because every one of them is on oath while moving. And so when you know, some activists are now saying, what do they think? What are they doing? Are they speaking for the country? Activists have always, we fought for democracy itself. We were at the barricade fighting for democracy, campaign for democracy, you were there, you know. And we need to come back to what Guardian said. The Guardian says, conscience is a wound. Let's look at our conscience. While speaking, because we are in power now, power is also very temporal. Very, very temporal. What we are doing now, it meant that the president all along, you know, it was his bill and he was watching it every minute. So he didn't need to take it back to the Attorney General. He didn't need to take it for any interpretation. It was his bill and he has passed what he wanted.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say, you know, just the great work that civil society organizations like yours have continued to do in pursuant of good governance in Nigeria. Now, based on the statements released by CSOs since the assent to that law, there have been conversations around a missed opportunity for truly transformative, you know, electoral reform in Nigeria. What are the next steps? Because whether we agree with it or not, or whether civil society organizations agree with it or not, it's the law as we currently have it. What are the next steps? How can we, despite the you know, imperfections of this law as viewed by CSOs, still be used for promoting credible, free, credible elections in Nigeria, and to encourage Nigerians to come out in 2027 based on the law, you know, the voter apathy you have already identified in previous interviews? How can we maximize the process and ensure that we still push ahead for you know, free, fair, and credible elections?
You know, it's very unfortunate that the Honorable Minister Keamu, you know, pointed out the issues about what the civil society, you know, are doing. We are overwhelmed. Civil society organizations are overwhelmed. We need citizens to rise and be counted. There are some positive things, even in the 2023 general election. Much as there were negative things because of the so-called glitches that happened, that did not happen to National Assembly transmission, you find out that some people won their elections because their votes counted. At least the download of the voters card, which has been talked about now, you know, it will help many citizens to be able to print their voters card. The issue of disability inclusion also is another area that you are where one is happy about. And then the issue of the penalties in terms of falsification. But how many people have been sent? How many people have all the arrests that were made during elections? Who has been sent to jail? The issue of sanctions, we need to come back to it. But what we cannot, the issue of electronic transmission of results that we're talking about, the networks that they're talking about, they're just holding water in their mouth when they are talking, as if they're talking to illiterate Nigerians. There are so many Nigerians that are educated, overeducated. You know, and you are talking to them as if they are children. You already know that even with your WhatsApp, when there is no network, you send your messages, it will go when it will. The former INEC chairman said we have no issue with electronic transmission, but politicians happen to them, and they brutalize, you know, the judiciary. So we are going to focus, because we are the employers, Nigerian people are the employers of this, because vacancy has been declared now. It will be declared. And people are going to contest for the presidency again and all the levels. It is Nigerian money that they are using to pay you. You need to answer to Nigerians. You find out now that nobody is saying, I pledge to Nigeria, my country again. So what are we operating by when you are moving yourself the way? I want to rest it on the shoulders of citizens. Don't leave it to civil society organizations. When they see us in some places saying, are you people not going to do this? What about you? The future of Nigerian is gradually drafting, weakening the system that we thought had been strengthened. What are we talking about? And if it is a ruling party, for example, you have about 30 governors. Okay, you have moved aside. You know, you have about 30 governors. Why are you afraid of electronic transmission? From the civil society, we are not the politicians. We want a transparent environment where we can choose our leaders freely. People, you know, are dying silently because of some inactivities, because of the over-impoverishment of Nigerians. And so we come back and you say, are we representing Nigerians? Were you representing Nigerians before? You were talking so much and then you are now a minister. And now you are looking back at us. And I tell people, when the people saw Peter Obi at the barricade, you know, during the protest, when we were at the National Assembly, in front of the National Assembly, they say, why is he here? Why was Tinubu there against Jonathan before? And so you cannot, so I'm even so sorry that, should I be sorry about it? That the opposition seems to be so weak that they are not mobilizing. And so we are still mobilizing. We are going to air our views. Some of the things that they have done, they may be satisfied with it, but why are we running away from ourselves? Conscience is a wound, and I want everybody, all of them, whatever they have done, they need to look at themselves.
So with due respect, great to have you. Thank you for all your advocacy work. But what do you mean by mobilizing? It's a very big, nebulous word. I don't understand it. What do you mean by we will still keep mobilizing?
No, we will still have a protest. What I'm saying is...
what does it mean? I want practical steps so that, because the Nigerian people are listening to you. Because when you say you mobilize, what does mobilizing mean? We want practical steps. Now that we know, okay, we don't have, it's as good as we don't have an opposition. They are busy rigmaroling and all of that. It's only the civil society and probably, you know, some agents in the media based on our work on Section 22 in the Constitution of holding government accountable. So what is mobilizing? What are some of the actions taken? What's going to be the engagements? What's going to be the plan? What should the people be doing as we speak? How should they come together? What should they do? Should they still go out and vote? All right? When they go out and vote in an election, what should they do? What should they ask? What should they insist on? Actions. Clear actions. What are those clear actions?
Some of the yes. When I say mobilizing, the civil society is coming together. We were out there and we are having a meeting, you know, very soon. When that meeting is done, of course you'll get to know. But I want to say that, you know, mobilizing for 2023 election was very, very stressful. And now we are going back to mobilize when you are telling them that they are not sure their votes will count. When you improve the system, it builds trust. And when you improve the system, you know, you yourself, you should be happy about it. Nobody stays in power forever. If you cannot make the system better, if you cannot prepare the stage better than you met it, then you're a failure. We are facing a failure of a generation. The clarity that we sought was the electronic transmission, just like it's done in other climes. And I tell you, we need to believe in ourselves too. Our mobilization, some of it, the political education is that Nigerians need to learn to believe in themselves. That each of us have the power. The office of citizenship is the highest office in the land because we can decide who goes there and who will not go there. Even with all the rules that they have made, if every Nigerian can come out and make sure they vote, they're able to register, the continuous voter registration is ongoing. Now that the law is passed that you can register and also print your card, it means that some of the obstacles have been removed. And so that's why I say there are pros and cons. You know, so when we are talking of in the political education, in 2023, it was civil society that were doing political education. Parties are supposed to conduct political education for their members. They are not doing it. They only go out when it's election. They go on campaigns. There is a difference between that. INEC was supposed to conduct, civic education in 2023. They never did up to the time we're going into the election. Where are your IC materials? Because you are the ones giving us what to do. We continued, and they told me that the thing was still under construction. And the INEC itself Nobody has asked for the audited account. Nigerians who are going to face the audited account for the 2023 general election, we want the audited account. People need to be held responsible. We are holding ourselves accountable. Like I said, yes, we are going to mobilize, but it's a very difficult task that you are giving the civil society. Only 8 million people voted to elect a president. You know, and so with the presidential count, what brought Tinubu to power is 8 million people. When we have more than 100 million who are qualified that are supposed to vote or be voted for. And so what we are looking at here is we are into planning. We're into, when I say we are into mobilizing, we'll still go to the National Assembly to let them know so that we can tell them, yes, you have done well here, but you didn't do well here, and we are watching you. And we'll tell the judiciary, we'll focus seriously on what the judiciary is doing. They cannot, you can go to court, should not be with a trillion or whatever amount, almost a trillion, you know, naira budget that the ANEC has given. Don't tell us to go to court, because the court is not the one that should decide election. More elections and pronouncement will be here. The FCT election is coming tomorrow. Is that why you made the pronouncement to see that you are so rooted on ground? Even when people are rooted, they can still be defeated. The German umpire is a card-carrying member of a political party, but he's the umpire of Germany, and he says there is no mix between the two. One is a professional job, the other one is a citizen's responsibility. And so when do we develop our citizenship? How can Nigerians? So this election will be mad if Nigerians don't come out. Don't leave it to the civil society. We observe. We are going to observe the election tomorrow, and we will be telling. We won't give, because we don't want to give up hope. If we give up hope, everybody will lie down. But Nigerians are at an existential period. They are in a survival mode. When you have more than 139 million Nigerians living below the poverty line, you weaponize poverty, and you take some money and you are offering them to vote for you. Nigerians, stand upright for yourselves. Stand upright for Nigeria. We need to continue to work. We will continue to struggle. The struggle continues. And I want to commend the media for the wonderful work they have been doing. And you think social media, we are just talking nonsense. We are going into the sun, you know, to stay in the sun for nothing. We are talking to you at my age. I'm still standing there to tell some people to do what is right when they are adults. What's the responsibility of an adult?
It's elections that you refer to tomorrow, yes. That will be the first litmus test, because it will now have to be conducted under the Electoral Act 2026, happening just a few days after that bill became law. What are your worst fears that tomorrow? Because the law will have to be tested. It's when the law is tested that we see the outcomes. Do you think that the networks in Abuja will just fail tomorrow, or they will change the code, or what do you imagine will happen?
Monday.com, the opposite of any work platform we tried in the past. We tried other work management platforms, not naming names. They all...
I think when we are talking about, you know, the network, I don't want to even go there, because the network is not an issue. They know what they are doing. They know the network is not the issue. Because the card, you know, before the beavers authenticates you, it accredits and bring you on board, and you say that same beavers cannot transmit. And we are saying the beavers, the configuration, it can upload right there and then, and everybody can see it. Don't tell us about glitches and what have you. Now, you made a law that is not up to maybe 72 hours, and people are going to implement that law. I think the lawyers will have to sort that out, because I'm not a lawyer. But how do you, after all the trainings have been done, how do they adapt? And one beautiful thing, we went to the new FCT chair, the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, because I'm still a member of the steering committee. We went to pay a visit to the chairman, and we saw the staff. We congratulated them for what they did in 2023, because to have someone so powerful to have lost an election in Abuja itself, and what the law actually says is that you have to, is a must for you to win 24, and also, you know, and the FCT, The Supreme Court said, they went into interpretation with water in their mouth. We salute them, and we hope, we are watching the new chairman, and we hope that he will be able to do the needful. We also say well done to Nigerians who are going out there, stand upright and be a Nigerian that your grandfather and your ancestors will be proud of, not the one that you do something you know you are wrong and you are doing it. That's somebody that the spirit of your ancestors will be watching you from there and said, where did I get this one from?
Well, on that note, we would like to thank you very much, NLB, for joining us on the morning show.
You're watching Newsday. Like we reminded you at some point in this bulletin, tomorrow, Saturday, February the 21st, 2026, is Elections Day in Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital territory. The 6 municipal council areas will be in full public purview as eligible voters turn out to choose their preferred chairman and councillors. The issue of security of the vote and the voting public is being considered paramount in tomorrow's exercise. And for more on what must be done to defend the integrity of that vote, we're now being joined by Senator Ireti Kingibe, the senator who represents the Federal Capital Territory in the National Assembly. Good to have you with us.
Good afternoon.
Very good.
I'm glad to be here.
Indeed. Now, Senator, how prepared is the FCT for tomorrow's municipal council elections in terms of security and logistics?
Well, that is a statement that a question that only the government can answer. But from my observations, I think everything is ready, both security and logistics. Members of the different area council followed the materials yesterday, so we know the materials have arrived. Everything seems to be on track.
And Senator, what specific measures are in place to... Sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
If you're tired of hiding your belly in photos, on February 23rd, we start Tai Chi for beginners over 50, just 7 minutes a day.
No, I was going to say, but what gives the residents of the FCT great concern right now is the fact that for the first time in the history of FCT...
Guys, please, good morning to everyone. Welcome to the show. Please, can you help me double tap your screen device to like the show? The likes are very low. Please help me double tap or click on the 3 dots on the right-hand corner to like the show. Like, share as well. Thank you very much.
We are all prevented from moving around after 8 o'clock, effectively putting a curfew on us. And we do not understand why. It's never been necessary before. Lots of people need to do little bits and pieces. And this is a democracy. There's no reason to infringe on our democratic rights without compelling reasons. Curfews are usually imposed when you have serious security breaches, and there have been none. So we're a little confused about why this is happening. This is the only medium of speaking to the minister is through the media. So maybe when he hears my concerns and not just my concern, I speak on behalf of the people, most of the people of the FCT. This curfew, they don't understand, they're confused, and they feel that it is not right, that it is the usual imperial and autocratic way of how they have been administered to date. And that is something I would like the minister to address. It's a problem for the FCT.
Fair enough. And we know that there are measures in place to ensure the safety of voters and electoral officials across the 6 area councils. You've expressed that this curfew is not very comfortable. Are you aware of any other efforts in place to ensure the safety of voters and electoral officials?
Yes, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of policemen have come out, more than we've ever seen in any local government election. That should be enough. If you put them all out on the streets tomorrow, it would look like we're in a state of war. That's still fine. But why we cannot move around the evening before is what we do not understand.
All right. right, Senator, are you confident that INEC is fully ready to conduct a free, fair, and credible elections in Abuja?
Well, all I can say is that I hope that INEC is ready for the free, fair elections. FCT is FCT. And we have a lot of observers, embassies, enlightened electorate. So chances are, and that's the reason that the curfew bothers us, is because why is it necessary? Maybe there's some nefarious activities that need to take place the evening before, why people cannot be on the streets. But other than that, I think everything is fine, ready for the elections, but we really, really object to that curfew. It's totally unnecessary and an infringement on our rights.
Could you speak on the mechanisms that exist to prevent vote buying, intimidation, or manipulation at the polling units?
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us at our next investor webinar.
Usually, if you look at, especially let's take AMAC, which is my local government, the electorate are mostly civil servants, educated people like me and you, and not very amenable to vote buying. You maybe, if you go to the interior possibly. So this local government that has 50% of Abuja's votes, it has always been difficult to buy their votes, always, in every election. And if you look at the records, it will show that that's the way it's always been.
Indeed, Senator. Now, given...
everybody's prepared, all the parties are all ready.
All right.
Sorry, continue.
Okay, right. I was going to ask, given concerns about voter apathy in local government elections over time, so what message do you have for residents of the FCT?
Well, I think it would be fairly true to say that this particular election will see a much larger voter turnout than we usually see, for many, many, many reasons, which I won't go into now. So that's the reason why we are all certain that whoever wins, wins. What they do after the results at the polls, that's a different matter. But manipulating the votes at the polls has always been extremely difficult.
Yeah. Well, Senator, how important...
For AMAC. And...
Go ahead.
I'm listening.
No, you go ahead.
No, even the other local governments. Local government is very personal to the communities and to the people. So they also stand firm on their choices, but we will see what happens.
And important
My prediction is that different parties will win across.
Yeah. Pardon? I was wondering how important the council elections are in shaping governance and service delivery, especially at the grassroots level.
Well, they're supposed to be important. AMAC, for instance, is the largest local government in Nigeria. The appropriation for AMAC alone monthly, it compares to many states. So it should be working for the people, but it has not been to date because of the caliber of local government chairmen we're getting. So this election, FCT people are taking more interest in the kind of people we're electing to manage those funds. So we shall see what happens.
And Senator, earlier you mentioned the how difficult it is to invoke vote buying in parts of the FCT when it comes to elections such as this. But what role should security agencies play, and how do we ensure that they remain neutral, you think?
In some places, especially in the interior parts, they should look for children voting. Also manipulations at the collation centers. Those are the places where you can actually fiddle with the votes a little bit. But generally at the polling units, Abuja voters are very, very protective of their votes. And for a lot of especially Amakambwari, it's very difficult to actually manipulate at the polling units. You can probably try and buy agents, but not this time around. This election is very, very important to FCT. We're taking it personally. And so it's fine. It should be all right. But the locking us all up away at 8 p.m., that is a problem. And really the main reason I came out here is to convey that message to the Minister of FCT and to the government that this is a democracy. We are in a state of war. We are just only going to vote for local governments. And I don't see why all of this is necessary. Thank you.
And if disputes do arise after the election, what's the proper channel for redress in order to protect the integrity of the entire process?
The usual way, go to the courts. We also have started to lose trust in the judiciary, so I cannot tell you what each area council decides to do. In some area councils, they're pretty vocal and aggressive about protecting their votes. Tomorrow is pregnant. We will see what it gives birth to.
Indeed, we'll look forward to the elections. Senator Iriti Kingiwe, would like to thank you very much for your time.
Keep watching. If your recent
Welcome, everybody. Greetings to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. On this same issue, we're still on the Electoral Act, but I want to bring an interview that Bolaji Abdullahi of the ADC had on Arise News, so that we can take a listen together. He talked about El Rufai's arrest and all of that, and I did see that they brought out a notice, I don't know, on the ADC wrote a letter or something like that. I think that had to do with the election, actually. Let's not bother with that. I think every Nigerian should continue to add their voice. This electoral act that they passed is not going to do any good for any Nigerian. So let nobody pretend like everything is all good, though. It's not, though. These people do not mean well. They don't have any intention of doing the right thing. None whatsoever. So if you cannot, no, I don't think any Nigerian should be silent at this time. Everybody needs to add their voice. Everybody need to add their voice. Okay. Oh,
So
listen.
Nigeria's.
Sorry, God. Oh, sorry.
Tonight, Arise Prime Time brings you a special exclusive conversation with the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El Rufai, at a moment of what appears to be mounting political and legal tension for him. His part. So Nigeria's political battlefield is wide, from anti-corruption probes to election rallies and now to the courts. At the center of it all, the African Democratic Congress, or ADC, pushing back hard against what it calls selective justice by the EFCC and the ICPC, and of course the APC. The party says investigations targeting the likes of Nasir El Rufai are not coincidental, but are calculated and aimed at weakening opposition voices ahead of crucial elections. And the political temperature is rising, with the FCT polls imminent. Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar have turned the contest into a referendum on governance, calling on voters to reject the ruling order of the APC and to test the neutrality of the Electoral Commission, INEC. And just as that battle unfolds, another front opens, a court case that could see the ADC and other parties struck off the political register entirely, invoking constitutional thresholds that have reshaped Nigeria's party system before. So is this a moment of democratic accountability or a convergence of legal and political pressures that could redefine opposition politics in Nigeria? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now on the line by the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, or ADC, Bolaji Abdullahi. Mr. Abdullahi, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much, As. Good evening.
Yeah, good to see you again. Let's start with Nasir El-Rufai, who is currently in the custody of the ICPC, having first been held by the EFCC. I've seen statements from ADC officials calling it political persecution, but perhaps I should ask you a simple question. Is Malam El-Rufai, and some have also mentioned Abubakar Malami, completely innocent of the allegations against them, or is the ADC defending individuals before the facts are even established?
Well, I mean, thank you very much. I mean, we are not in a position to pronounce on whether they are guilty or not. What we are concerned about is the selective nature of what you call the investigation of corruption practices itself. I mean, we have EFCC and the ICPC, two national institutions funded by public money to probe and investigate corruption charges and prosecute people for corruption practices. But they appear to be only efficient and effective when opposition figures are involved. And we have repeated, when we say the kind of things we say, we are concerned that national institutions are being turned into partisan agents. Because all you need to do is to look at the other side, the side of the government, and see the kind of individuals in the rank of the APC, people who still have cases in court, people who have been investigated in the past. But suddenly, the moment they join the ruling party, they use their broom to sweep all this under the carpet. So we are not saying that Malam El-Rufai is guilty or not guilty, or Abubakar Malami is guilty or not guilty. We are concerned about the bastardization of national institutions and weaponization of institutions against opposition figures. This is our concern. And we are saying that there is due process to all this. You can't go and waylay people at the airport and claim that what you are doing is investigating corruption when you have not served them notice and find that they are running away from investigation. You cannot release people after detaining them for days and refusing to grant them bail. Then when you are to grant them bail, eventually you pick them up for funding terrorism. So you begin to ask yourself, is this about fight against corruption? Or is this directed at people because of the kind of politics they play and the kind of role they play in the national space? So this is the concern that we have.
Listen, it's called Connect Team, and it's insane. I don't do schedules or timesheets manually anymore. And it works? Oh, like you wouldn't believe it. My team puts in their availability.
So, I mean, if the ADC remains resolute in calling out the EFCC, the ICPC, the APC for selective prosecution, I'm wondering if the EFCC opens a case against your members, whether your default position is always to say witch hunt, or whether there are circumstances where you would admit wrongdoing within your ranks.
Sure.
No, not at all. I mean, I've not said anything to suggest that these individuals are guilty or they are innocent. I mean, anyone who has had opportunity to serve in the public office must be prepared to render account of his stewardship or her stewardship. And ADC is not saying that people should not be held accountable for the role they have played and what they have done in the past. No, that's not what we are saying. But at the same time, we know the possibility that this can just offer the right pretext for people to witch hunt witch hunt opposition. So to what extent do we know that what is going on is genuine commitment to fighting corruption or for demanding accountability, or it's just excuse or pretext to witch hunt political opposition figures? And that's what we say. All we need to do is to look at the terrain generally.
Right.
And look at all the people who have served in this country at various levels over the years and ask ourselves, is this a blanket investigation?
Right.
Or
well,
is it
I understand
a selective
that, but,
investigation?
Right, I understand that. But what I'm wondering, Mr. Abdullahi, is, isn't there a risk that by framing virtually every investigation as political, you are undermining genuine anti-corruption efforts in Nigeria. Because if you say that the ADC stands for accountability, I mean, why should Nigerians trust a party now rallying around two of the most controversial figures from past administrations?
No, I don't know how you arrive at the conclusion that these are two of the most controversial figures in the past administration, because there are people who are currently in this government who also played a lead role in previous administration, and they are not being investigated. There are people who were being investigated. Suddenly their cases disappeared, and we no longer hear anything. There are people who were being arraigned in courts after investigation, and they are suddenly turned up in other spaces as emissaries of the ruling party. And the point we are saying, the anchor for our concern, is this selective investigation. I mean, if these individuals on our party are guilty, let the court pronounce them guilty. Let them be subjected to the due process of the law, and let the court find them guilty. If the courts find them guilty, we are not going to sit here and say, no, they are being persecuted. But until the court pronounce them guilty, the manner you go about arresting them, the manner you go about bringing them to investigation is consequential of what happens eventually. And that's why we are saying that for us as opposition party, we are not just going to see, we're not going to trust your intention until we see what you do eventually.
So wait, what's the catch? That's what most people ask when they hear about SMUD's brand new home battery.
That's fair enough. Let's turn to the FCT Area Council elections taking place on Saturday. Your party, the ADC, is framing that ballot as a referendum on the APC government and on the neutrality of INEC. I mean, if you lose, will you accept it as the will of the people, or will you question the system?
Well, it depends on what happened, because the question you're asking me, you'll agree with due respect, is hypothetical. If we go to the polls on Saturday and it turns out to be free, fair, and transparent, we will naturally accept the result as the verdict of the people. But if anything short of that happens, if we see any foul play, we are going to call it as such. We are not going to commit ourselves that if we lose, then we will accept the result as the will of the people. We are going to probe it, we are going to investigate it. But we are confident, like we said, we are confident that this is a referendum on the ruling party. And we are confident that the people have rejected them, and the people see ADC as the only credible alternative. And that will show in the outcome of the election on Saturday.
Well, two of your political heavyweights, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, whilst campaigning for ADC candidates in the FCT, called on voters to defy intimidation. I mean, what specific evidence do you have that voters are being intimidated right now?
Well, I mean, I don't know what specifically they are referring to, but what comes to mind is the kind of rhetoric emerging from the Minister of FCT and of Wike, saying that anyone who doesn't support Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not win the election. And we think this is preposterous, and it is wrong, and is a form of intimidation. And that's why we said it is the people of FCT that will decide the outcome of the election, not any government or agents of government. Those kind of statements coming from the Minister of FCT, it is wrong, and it constitutes a threat to the democratic practice in Nigeria.
And I mean, what are your chances on Saturday? How hopeful, optimistic, should I put it that way, or how confident are you about what's going to happen on Saturday, given all the things that you've told us at the moment?
I mean, we are confident, and our confidence lies in the fact that today we know the Nigerian people have rejected the ruling party. And we are confident that our party remains the only credible alternative, and our candidates are very good, and we are confident to back them, and that's why you see many of our party leaders have really gone out of their ways to campaign for our candidates. So we are confident that the election, if it is free, fair, and transparent, is going to very favorable result to us. We also think that it is a major test for the new INEC chairman. It's a litmus test for the new INEC chairman. He has been saying the right things. Now it's an opportunity for him to prove that he's actually committed to transparent election.
It's also been framed by the ADC as a referendum on the governance of the APC. So the reason I ask you that is if the APC happens to do very well, what happens to that referendum on governance?
I mean, yes, you can say that, but it's not going to be, everything is not going to depend on the FCT election. We are confident, like I said, that we will win this election. But I'm saying that for us, the consensus across the country today, given the dismal performance of the ruling party in the last 3 years or so, the consensus is that they have to go because they've had their opportunity and they have bungled it. And bungled it disastrously because lives have been involved in their incompetence. Lives have been lost. A whole community. I was just reading this evening that military barracks were being attacked by armed gangs. When Nigerian military establishments could be attacked by armed gangs, I mean, then what else do we need to say about the incompetence of this government in its primary duty to protect lives and property of ordinary Nigerians? If military people are not safe, then what happens to ordinary civilians? And we can give other evidence. So the point we are making is that for us, it's an opportunity for Nigerians to choose, and that is the opportunity they don't want. They want Nigerians to be presented with a fait accompli, so that when we arrive at 2027, the people will not have alternative but to vote for them. But it's not going to happen.
Well, let's talk about the threat of deregistration that the ADC is facing at the moment. There is now a legal move to deregister the party. Does that suggest that the ADC has failed to meet constitutional thresholds?
I used to say, if I hear AI one more time, I'm going to lose it. But Monday.com is super easy to use.
You see, there's no case to this. Who is the person instituting this case? The people instituting this case call themselves Forum of National Former Legislative Members or something, former members of the National Assembly. But we know that the individual at the head of this, we know where he works. He works with the Chief of Staff to the President. Or he works with, he used to work with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas. So we know where this is coming from. And we know it is part of their game plan. I'm saying it on live TV now. We know it's part of their game plan to complete the decimation of the opposition parties. So it's not going to work. But talking about whether we meet the constitutional threshold, what is the constitutional threshold? That you must win at least 25% of vote cast in the federal and presidential election. You must win at least one House of Assembly or one House of Representative seat. ADC met all these requirements in the last general election. And if you are saying that it's about the number of House of Representative or senators we have, of course. I mean, you know how many senators we now have and how many. You see, it doesn't make sense at all. I mean, these are people who are just desperately throwing everything at ADC, including the frying pan and the kitchen, because they have become jittery with the kind of reception that Nigerians have given the ADC. They thought they have destroyed all opposition parties, given what they did to other political parties. Now, to their dismay, ADC is waxing stronger every day. And that's why they are doing everything within their I mean to throw cognitive. But we are not bothered about this at all. They've gone to court, so the case is in court, and we are already there. So there's no problem at all. We are not concerned at all.
I mean, a lot of your followers are concerned. I mean, they have expressed their concern on social media, and let's just interrogate the point that the plaintiffs are making, because they say, as you suggested, that the ADC did not secure 25% of the vote in any state in the last presidential election and that it did not win any seat in the August 2025 by-elections conducted by INEC, adding that the outcome fell below the minimum legal threshold and that according to the law, having failed to meet the requirements of the Constitution and the Electoral Act, that the ADC should be deregistered. And you don't think that they have a point? That doesn't concern you?
Absolutely, they have no point. If we are going to play strictly by the letters of the law, we spent time looking at this, they have absolutely no point. But like I said, the case is in court, and we are not going to try this case on Arise TV. We are going to meet at the court. But I'm telling our members that you say are concerned that there is absolutely no reason to be worried. And the most important point, there is the legal side of it. There is also the political side of it. A government that is determined to destroy the opposition rank will do anything, including hijacking the court. I'm not trying to preempt anything, but we are saying that if this government thinks they can destroy, remove all opposition elements, ADC at the moment remains the only option left for Nigerians. Government should not think that they can remove ADC, then Nigerians will give up and say, okay, now we can follow APC, we will have no option. I think they should be very, very careful not to cause trouble. Already the country is in a bad place with all kind of things, but we don't want to add to this. They should not allow their desperation to lead this country into a crisis that can be avoided.
Well, I mean, listening to you, Mr. Abdullahi, I'm wondering if the court rules against you, whether you will accept the judgment or argue that the judiciary is being weaponized against you.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, and I'm the CEO.
I mean, you make it sound as if there is no basis to make such conclusion or to claim that the judiciary, and I don't want to be preemptive, and that's why I say I don't want to go into the substance of the case. But what I'm saying is that the judiciary that you know is the judiciary that has been part of the problem of this democracy rather than part of the solution. So it will not be out of place to make such conclusions when the time arrives. But what we are saying is that strictly on the letters of the law, and let the lawyers discuss this, let the courts discuss this. Strictly on the letters of the law, we don't have anything to worry about.
And on a more hopeful note, you set up a committee, a pretty high-powered committee recently to draft your manifesto and all the sort of the ethics and the rest of it that are going to sort of surround and accompany the ADC. How's that going?
Well, it's going very well. It's a lot of work. We have 11 subcommittees coming out of that. They are working day and night because they have only 12 weeks. And very soon we are going to get the report out.
Okay, Mr. Abdullah.
Like we said, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Okay, thank you very much. No, I was just saying that, I mean, for people who have continuously asked us, what is going to be the difference between the opposition ADC and the ruling party, by the time we come out with our manifesto, people will see clearly, Nigerians will see clearly why we represent better alternative to what they currently have. And that's why we are doing this.
Okay, Mr. Abdullahi, I want to thank you very much indeed. We really appreciate your taking the time to talk to us. Bolaji Abdullahi is the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, or ADC, and he was talking to me on the line there.
Interesting days. Greetings, everyone. All of you are welcome. I salute you again. Okay? I greet you specially. I see you, Sid. I see you, Kingsley. Let me go through. Elevator, Ajisola, Inquike. I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. King Damien. Natu, thank you. Thank you for the bronze medal. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Ugo Namdi, sorry. Welcome. Our media is a major part of the problem. It's actually the number one, if you ask me, because it's what they put out. They are the ones who ought to create the energy for Nigerians. But Not from me. You're from Cameroon. Oh, welcome, our Cameroon brother. Welcome, welcome. We're neighbors now. So let's get into it. Now, no, it's all about electoral act for me because that's the most important one. If we don't get the electoral act right, forget them. Forget them. You understand? So I'm staying on this for a reason. So if anyone is coming across this channel and wondering why, this is the reason. It's very important that we stay on this, because if we get the electoral act that we need, then it doesn't mean that the rigging will disappear, but at least we'll have something to hold on to. And it does not mean that all our problems are automatically solved. We still need to work and fight for it. Okay? So yeah, let's go on.
Confidence in the 2027 election, even though it is a year away?
I have not lost confidence in the election. I've lost confidence in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the leadership of National Assembly. And not only me, majority of Nigerians have lost confidence in them because President Tinubu is in trouble with the people. He's not delivering results, and he doesn't want the people to inspect his work. Therefore, he's putting roadblocks in the way of the voter, in the way of the citizens to say, come and explain to us. Because he believes that in their own class of politics, in their own school of politics, if we can call it politics, that you do not go to the people to ask for power. You're wasting your time. People like us who go to the people to campaign, ask for power, you're wasting our time. You grab the power, you snatch it, you run away with it. That is what he believes. And this is legislative snatching of power. So we are still going to defeat Tinubu in this country. We are still going to defeat him handsomely and defeat the APC handsomely. But he has put another burden in the way of people, another shadow of doubt in the mind of the voter. So we have to now go back to boost the confidence of the voter to say all hope is not lost. Just come out. It's also going to make the voting center more like a vigilante place. If the law had been passed the way all of us had been majority, all of us would have gone there as democratic.
The majority voted on the electoral bill.
No, look at, you have been covering National Assembly for some time. Have you ever seen a carpenter with a hammer hammering away like that?
But you look at the numbers, APC has the majority in both chambers.
Then put it to vote.
That's what they did in the Senate. They did not. That's what they did in the Senate. No. 55 against 15, overwhelmingly.
No. The House is one, the Senate is one, the House is one.
So they took a voice vote in the House of Representatives.
There was no voice. That's not voice vote. That's the shouting match.
Right.
And even there, you can play the tape for history. The man, the deputy speaker, I don't know whether he was a carpenter before or an auctioneer, was not interested in listening to his colleagues. He was hammering away like a hammer and nail situation. Point of order, don't bang, bang, bang. That is not how civilized people behave. At the end of the day, even if you manage to cook up a suborn majority in the National Assembly, if what you are legislating about is not mere government policy, government contract, if it's something fundamental to the country, something that is contained in our fundamental bills like Chapter 2, Chapter 4, what the majority say outside is binding on National Assembly.
Has that been established? That the people who are opposing what played out are in the majority? Has that been established?
Go and read the report of the House of Representatives and read the report of the Senate. They wrote it by themselves. They went around the country and did town hall.
If you own company stock that's gone up tremendously in value since you've owned it, there's a good chance you'll pay more in taxes than you have to. We can help fix this problem. We often see this. Founders, early employees, or investors who took a risk and saw their stock's value soar as the company grew. Your hard work paid off, but now comes the tax challenge. Without the right plan, taxes can quickly erode your hard-earned gains. Many people with concentrated stock positions worry about this. But once the stock is sold,
they did public hearing and they wrote their own report. You are a journalist. Tell your producer, call me back. Take what they wrote. Last minute, they started sending text messages to themselves and said, no, Oga said we should change this thing. And they started doing all this, rolling themselves back. Oga being the people you saw in the picture signing what Nigerians are crying about. Because if you look at it, the House said rescission of their own decision. They sat and took a decision and did their third reading and said we are done with the bill. Now the Senate went into executive session, no issues raised. Then they came out between the speaker, Senate president and a few rabble-rousers. They started saying, no, let's go back to the old one. And there was uproar everywhere. Now they cook up this patch and put a proviso, thinking that they could undermine the will of the people. But they went out and did public hearing. And majority of Nigerians have told them what we want. And in any case, how is this supposed to be controversial? All we are asking for are clear rules, unambiguous rules, which if where APC has majority of votes, it will favor them. Where SDP has majority of votes, it will favor us. Where any other party has majority, it will favor them. And overall, when you aggregate together, it will favor the electorate. And we will have a legitimate government that people can say, with the way our election system works, for this man to be sitting on this seat, it means that even though I didn't vote for him, there are plenty of Nigerians who voted for him other than me.
So
that is not the case now.
Section 60, subsection 3 is a big enough deal that you're willing to throw away the baby and the bathwater to say that the Electoral Act is no good.
There's no baby there. The government itself has confiscated the baby and brought you an effigy. What we are saying is that no government
But that's a fact.
that full of people have taken oath of office of allegiance to the republic and who have said that they are going to do things without bias, no fear or favor, not whether it favors them or not, is going to put an obstacle in the fundamental right of the people to choose their leader. What we are saying is that that proviso is in bad taste, is in bad faith. It does not serve any purpose. It is redundant there, except that it is a reversal of the mandatory nature of electronic transmission. And electronic transmission goes to the heart of the sanctity of the results at the polling unit. So these things are relevant. Any other decorative, administrative, other provisions you put in the Electoral Act, notwithstanding, the heart of the matter is that elections take place in the polling unit. And this section 60 addresses what takes place in the polling unit, and that is where they came to do their legislative mischief and draftsmanship calamity.
You heard what the president said. Said all this hue and cry is over nothing. Our electoral process is still basically manual, the arithmetic of it all, the processes and what have you. And he also expressed concerns about glitches because of how technology can sometimes be unreliable. He also made mention of hacking concerns and things like that. When the president said those things, is there a part of you that wanted to believe that, yeah, there is some logical reason to that?
I'm sorry to say, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not an honest leader. He's a leader who is deceiving the people and in the process deceiving himself. Why? One, whether voting is manual or not is not relevant. What is relevant is the evidence of what is voted. We are not saying that give us beavers that has a voting machine capacity. No. We are saying when we are voted with our thumb on a piece of paper and it's been counted, let us immediately audit it, record it by sending a copy to the INEC website server.
Yeah.
That's what we are saying. It should not come with any kind of balablu. What we are saying is that if it's talking about hacking, how come it's not about people hacking the voter register?
Exactly.
Because the voter register is what Beavers is using to read your card and confirm that the information on that card is what is contained in INEC server that has electronic register of voters. That is why we are not using our ordinary eyes to confirm your voter's card. We put it in the machine. The machine will say, authenticate it that it is true. Then that's where we now go to the manual register and take it. It's a dual process. You cannot undermine one for the other. There is no way the hacking is relevant, because what we are doing is that the is in your hand. But we have 7 political parties: police, DSS, civil defense, whatever, etc., and all of that. Each one there has a copy. If you look at the case of Hope Uzodinma that he used to get himself into the government, it is the result brought by the police and law enforcement that they used, not the result brought by INEC. If we had done electronic transmission, that argument will not arise. They will not say, yeah, because we will have only one common reference. That is why today, if you show me your Nigerian passport, I don't argue whether it is fake or genuine. It's not my business. All I need to do is go to Nigerian Immigration Service, scan that passport. It will show your name. If you get to the airport, they already have it, IATA has it. So when any airline scans your passport, you can have a Nigerian passport and you're in Pakistan, and Pakistani airline is carrying you. When they scan your passport, they will see that this passport is NGA, issued by Nigeria. This is the number. So why are they not worried about hacking that one? So what kind of situation? If you buy a ticket...
Are you saying the president is not well informed, and that's why he expressed those concerns?
The president is not well informed. The president is misinformed. The president is ill-intentioned. And the president doesn't care to be informed. And the little information he has is using against the people. So the president is not honest. And the leader needs to be honest. It's not honest on this occasion. So, and we know that. I know Nigeria is fooled about that. The president is not technology illiterate as he's trying to present. He knows that nobody can hack it. What he's worried about is that this is a system in which nobody has control. Once you score 10 votes, and I score 10 votes, the other person scored 10 votes, and we scan it, I can't turn my own to 11. Even though he's president, I has power, I can't turn it to his own 11. Everybody gets whatever vote the people gave. But the system they have now gives room for somebody to say, well, the machine I have, the temperature is too high. There's no... so people will be arguing there. How come I have signal on my phone? You say you don't have signal. You are not living here today unless you send
these are all hypothetical situations.
You
could also say, what if nothing goes wrong on election day and everything gets uploaded to the IREF?
We do not legislate for what if. We legislate for what the law wants.
Yeah, but that's the reality of life, isn't it?
The reality of life
there is no guarantee, especially when
when
human error is involved.
You cannot write everything we do in law. The university you attended cannot write that this certificate is issued to Shafiu, Professor. However, anybody who holds it in his hand is Shafiu.
Yeah, but
don't do that.
But Prince, I don't think that's a fair analogy.
That's a fair analogy because law wants certainty. That's what I'm giving to you. You cannot give me CFO and say this plot 111 is my land. The currency note cannot say this is 500 naira note, provided that if one of the digits is missing, whatever figure it is, that's what the naira is. That's not how to make laws.
I mean, we have so many sections in the Nigerian Constitution that has alternatives, whether it's about citizenship, whether it's about
call the speaker, call the Senate President, call me.
Right.
Let us go through the Constitution, call the Clerk National Assembly, and see whether there's any provision in any law that looks like this one. This one is a proviso by way of counter provision. It is not done. You are countermanding the law within the law.
So you're saying there is zero chance that if we say compulsory electronic transmission of results via the beavers on election day, there is zero chance that anything could go wrong with the technology on election day?
There is zero chance of anything going wrong outside that law. Why? already in ordinary life, BVAS performs 90-something%. The Constitution of Nigeria and our electoral jurisprudence looks for substantiality, not perfection. Look for substantiality. Even if you have, out of 136,762 polling units, if you have 6,666 where something went wrong, INEC will countermand that report, that result, and has to come back and vote. We'll bring you a better BVAS. We must vote again and electronically transmit it. And if they declare the result, the court will look at it. If the gap between the winner and the runner-up is 3 million votes, and the places where the witchcraft that the National Assembly is legislating over, that witchcraft affects some polling units. If it is just 6,000 votes affected, and the gap is 3 million votes, court will say, don't bother about those ones. Clear the winner, you can go and do whatever you like with those ones. Go and cast the vote again. If it's so, that is what we are doing. There's nothing they're adding other than confusion.
Right. But to be fair, if we have to read the section itself, electronic transmission to IREF is compulsory. However, if it fails, and that's where I want you to dispassionately talk about the possibility of technology malfunctioning, especially on the biggest stage, which is the general election, for instance, right? We do know that because of our regular interaction with technology, whether it's our mobile phones, our TV sets, small technology, big technology, small equipments, big ones, there is a chance of failure, isn't it? Isn't this?
Have you heard about pop-on roofing? We need 50 homeowners in your area to trial this radically simple new roofing service.
A reasonable proviso.
It is an unreasonable proviso. Let me look at it this way. If you go to your bank to do transaction and you give the bank 2 million naira to transfer for you and the transfer fails, you know it happens in 0.1% of transaction. Proviso is that if you give your bank money to transfer for you, they must transfer the money. However, if the machine fails, the money is no longer yours.
Yeah, but this one says if it fails, the physical result sheet.
What they should say,
which is actually what is going to be.
No, what they should say is that if it fails,
right?
If they want to put first if it fails, they will say where it fails, the returning officer will come back and conduct the election again.
Why are you conducting the election
because
again? This is just uploading the result.
No, because that will make them not to make it fail. And where it fails, people will know that if where it fails, you stay there. Remember that you don't have to send it only one time. You come back there again, and you will do it again.
So the fact that it says, if it fails, the physical results sheet, which is from EC8A, becomes the primary source of collation and results declaration.
We don't want it to be the primary source because historically...
Our election is already on paper, isn't it?
No, you don't. Let us understand something. It's not the paper we're fighting. Let us not confuse any issues. The paper is subject to manipulation. It's not, we are not an anti-paper society. We are saying that the reason why your university doesn't give you your transcript by yourself to take it to the next school is that you can manipulate and go from third class to first class with your own hand. That's why your university seals your transcript. Is it not based on paper? What we are saying, that is why we make our checkbook to have all kind of vignette, clear window, kinogram, so that you don't forge the currency, you don't forge the check. So the paper, that result sheets, historically has a record of being duplicated, manipulated, altered, and all of that. To save it, if the machine fails, you try again. You call your officer, they bring another machine. They try again until it goes. That's not an issue. And INEC, when they do their simulation, they will have spare
I'm telling you, not the man they do analogy pass you.
They have spare
Be cracking up here.
SIM cards, relay of SIM
He has
cards.
a great
They'll
sense
put
of
this
humor.
one,
I
this.
have
I
to
don't want to
give
call
it to
their names so you don't charge me for
I like the
advertising.
way he
This
can
one,
wave-
this one. So all the
wave
various
it.
carrier they will put there. They have also budget, an ability to also add satellite too, because all from Iwu's time, polling units had their GPS location, so you can beam signal there for the purpose of the election. So there are many things you can do. So what that language they put there is to give the impression that we use the word compulsory, but if you can sabotage this or have a little problem,
that's the ulterior motive.
That is the ulterior motive which they have already expressed. So,
and do you think INEC is on board with this?
INEC is supposed to obey the law. INEC is not as powerful as you think. INEC is an independent body by law, but it cannot violate the law. So INEC.
So who's going to tell INEC not to go with the first option, which is compulsory uploading of
INEC
results?
Is that what INEC tries to do? You could see in this current election we are doing area council, INEC said we will transmit real time. And people in power started complaining. Well, INEC said, oh, not real time, really. So what I'm letting you know is that we interact with INEC all the time. They are Nigerians. They also want the election to go free and fair. And every INEC chairman who is put on that hot seat doesn't want to be an effigy of sabotage. He doesn't want to be seen as a patriotic person, because many of them tend to be people who otherwise have achieved something in their life before coming. But that seat can mess you up. Therefore, they try their best to try to encourage their workers, adult staff, everybody, to try to follow the law. But the spectacular calamity of this present law is that law itself, which the INEC chairman will ask you to follow, which your commissioner will have to follow, your rec will have to follow, is already creating ambiguity in its own text. So the excuses you will give to your superior, they will say, have you lost your mind? How can you say where you are, you had no signal? How can you say the thing did not work? The thing that works. The law has already covered you. Which means this is
so it boils down to INEC officials on election day.
It boils down to their conscience, but normally it should boil down to the law. Right. So this is what they have done now. This is Bola Ahmed Tinubu Election Rigor Excuse and Protection Act. That's what he's signed now.
Right. I mean, your words, not mine.
Yes, my words. My name is Adewale Adebayo, and I say that.
To put it diplomatically, yes. You sort of think this is a missed opportunity.
It's a missed opportunity for the president, but the voter.
Right.
The democracy, we are not going to miss it.
But is there an antidote beyond this academic exercise of expressing your grievances and your disappointment, which other civil society...
It is not an academic exercise, it's a constitutional exercise.
I mean, do you think we're going to get an amendment before the next general election?
We are pushing for an amendment so that we strengthen the law.
Of a one-day-old law?
What we are saying.
One-day-old act?
Yes, the earlier we did it, the better. But what we are saying is that even if there was no electoral act, under the military, we conducted under decree. We still ask the military to go. I know the tendency to behave like Major General Bola Ahmed Tinubu is there, but we're in a democracy. You can be Field Marshal Bola Ahmed Tinubu on election day. Despite all of these manipulations, when the people rise and come out, that is the end of that tyranny. And the tyranny of the majority, which in the House and the Senate, which is now being abused to undermine the majority of the public, will come to an end on election day. But it will go down in history that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Godswill Akpabio, Speaker Abbas, and the rest of their clique there attempted to snatch democracy from the hand of the Nigerian people. Bam. The Nigerian people did not allow them to grab it, snatch it, or run away with it.
So, the antidote is an amendment before 2027 or
people's action. People's action is superior to amendment by them. But for their own legacy, if
when you
they
say
care
people's
about
action, when you say people's action, what exactly do you mean?
Nigerians will let the government know, and we will continue to let them know that what you have done is not good. And we will also remind them on election day that that thing you did not save you, because power comes from God. And the people of Nigeria will still defeat you despite all the legislative manipulation.
Prince Adewale Adibaya, as always, a pleasure. Thank you
very much
for the analysis.
Thank you very much, and Ramadan Kareem, and happy Lent to all our brothers and sisters, and God bless.
If you have
God bless
CalFresh,
you
Medi-Cal,
too.
or
Okay.
SSI, you may qualify for a free iPhone 11, plus a...
Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you most kindly.
One more
for
from
joining us.
him.
Tonight
One
on
more
the program,
from
we
him.
examine and re-examine the reactions following the signing of the new Electoral Act for 2026 by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The president's assent has split public opinion. As one can imagine, with supporters arguing the quick approval keeps the country on track ahead of the next general election, civil society groups, political opponents, however, warn that parts of the amendment could weaken public confidence in Nigeria's electoral process. The controversy centers on the inclusion of a manual option, the provisor, in the transmission of election results. A provision critics say may undermine the push for electronic transmission
You know what?
of
We'll
results.
do this later on. Let me just quickly play a few short clips here, and then we'll call it a day, because let's see. Here's
I
your
walked out of that place.
Amak
Of course,
chair.
the vote does count. The minister, this is not Obiako. You can't write votes in Amak. He cannot. Somebody should tell the minister that Dr. Mo says that the will of the people will count.
Okay now.
On Saturday, there's going to be a new Amak.
Okay
where
now.
boldness, objectivity, decisiveness, and fearlessness will take center stage. Enough of people dying, enough of poverty, enough of brigandage. We own this city. Wicked does not own the city. The city belongs to the people.
Bam, tell
The
him.
suffering masses, the young people listening to me. We own this city. I was offered all kinds of things. I was angry. I walked out of that place.
All right,
Yeah, as I stop doing all this propaganda you're doing, let me tell you, America have everything, every data that is happening in Nigeria. America have it in their palms.
Asari they boast.
They have it. President Trump have everything.
Asari they boast.
Nigeria government.
He threaten US.
To rope IPOB.
Michael, welcome.
IPOB is not terrorists. They are not terrorists. IPOB are not terrorists. They are only protecting their fatherland, which is ESN, Eastern Security Network. They are protecting their mother's land. They are not terrorists. They are protecting their mother's land by Fulani terrorists.
I'm telling you, Michael.
They are not terrorists. You are just in China. Nigeria government is trying to, because you see where Americans are dropping we are dropping all the whole aircraft that want to use and destroy your brothers. Now you are not trying to rope IPOB inside by saying, oh, they come to Port Harcourt, they do Muslim this.
Which was a lie. Turned out to be a lie.
They do this. All is lies.
Okay.
All what they are doing, we knows. Everybody knows. They knows. Everybody knows. The world knows. Israel knows. America knows. Even Britain knows. They know all what they are doing. Or they know who you are. You are Asari Dokomat. When you say A today, tomorrow you say B, next tomorrow you say D, next tomorrow you say the same thing. We are just a chameleon. We are belly face.
I'm telling you.
Know. So stop all this your propaganda. It will not lead you anywhere. I have asked you to make a video. Tell in short China why they demolishing mosque in China and converted it to public toilet, and see what is going to happen to you. Now you are not trying to rope. Yes, there's no. America will never drop anything in Southeast. America will not drop anything in Southeast because they know that Southeast are peaceful area. They are only ESN is only protecting their mother's land. They are not buying anybody. So all what they are doing, they are wasting time. As they are doing now, Nigeria government have sent some money for you to add and buy more goods. So you to make a video to rope IPOB in. You can never rope Igbos in on this. You can never rope Igbos in on this. Asare Dokobo, you are wasting time. I'm telling you, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. You understand? You're wasting your time. You're not. You're just running your dirty mouth up and down. Your frog mouth. That's what you're just running. It will not lead you anywhere. It will not yield anything. There's nothing you say that will yield anything. It will not yield anything. The only thing, my brothers and sisters, the only thing you have to do for me is to help me share this video, like and comment, and follow me without no reason. Because I must be giving you update. Thank you very much.
He said, "Make you follow without no reason." Meanwhile, here's what's going on. A king in Yoruba land was unalived in his palace, in his community on Yoruba soil. This is from, remember that apostle that came out with fire and brimstone against the terrorists and told it like it is. The apostle Olowokere man. This is it. He says, not just any Yoruba man, but a king. Guess what? No outrage whatsoever from my Yoruba people. They've cowered into their shell like a menstruating tortoise. I don't know what a menstruating tortoise is, so I beg. I don't know. An attack right on your own soil, for God's sake. But because you want to defend your Jeroboam in Aso Rock, you are mute. You could attack the Igbos all day, who have done nothing but contribute immensely to the growth and prosperity of Nigeria, but will turn blind eyes and deaf ears because the atrocity is committed by Fulani jihadists. You all are despicable. I hope a day wouldn't come where it will be said Yoruba Fulani, just like we have Hausa Fulani. It's already happening though. It's already happening, Apostle. There's Yoruba Fulani now. They distinguish themselves for Twitter. On social media space, we are seeing them. This is sad. I'm not going to lie. It's very sad. This is very sad.
I meant by creation of law is supposed to be independent. They cannot now put the department under the executive, under Asoro Villa.
A strangers come into your land to desecrate it by unaliving a traditional leader. Do you know that's an aberration? That's an abomination on your land, and that community there's no outrage. Hey, Edo people, now one they carry on a king like say na God. I hope people are paying attention. No, all on our communities get wetin they call our traditional leaders. Una also now they take una traditional leaders play. Okay, if una like make una fold hand. We go come talk the news for here. As we talk other people own, we go talk on our own too. You know different. So if una like more na fold hand, they look.
Not acceptable. And the unfortunate thing is they begin to show their leg now.
I'm telling you, Natu. Yeah, you said it.
Very.
It's all over social media. Yoruba Fulani. Oh God.
I don't know if that's what they are trying to achieve, but we must all tell them or get them to do the right things. I know how election is done in River State, especially under the current minister of the FCT. So, and he wants to get absolute, maybe 100% of the outcome of that result. He wants to make sure he dictates that. If you remember in 2023, you will not say APC was a strong party in River State, even though the then Minister of Transportation is from River State. The then minister, the current Minister of FCT was absolutely in charge. For him to sweep the entire state for APC, then you know the kind of person he is. He doesn't like competition. If you remember the second time, he almost didn't have anybody competing with him. He was almost a sole candidate in that. So this is you can go back and check me. So this is the kind of person he is. And that's why we say If INEC is truly independent, this should not be happening. This should not be happening. So he wants to have record 100% of the outcome and show it to Mr. President. And I'm afraid that's likely what's going to happen in Abuja here tomorrow. But why should one individual be getting away with all this? Well, this country is bigger than anybody. But to allow these things to happen, it shows that there are everybody, whatever achievements we have made in the last few years in building this democracy. And nobody should be quiet. We should all be speaking up. Because this is how it starts.
Don't already start. Don't already start. This Simon K. They don't they say me they release Nnamdi Kanu because Nnamdi Kanu get solution to the problem when we get to all the terrorism problem because he talk am before says now waiting go happen with this and we are seeing it play out. So he's the only one with the solution to the madness. Make we listen to him. I like to listen to the guy because they speak the truth.
Allah, let me tell you something, Tinubu, between God and man. Allah released this man. Release this man. This is the only man that has solution to this madness, that have seen this madness before it even start happening. I am telling you, forget about it. Well, this time around, I'm going to be brutal with the fact I don't care about tomorrow, serious. Tomorrow now God honey day. But sincerely speaking, check it globally, everywhere in the world. Wherever you see the manifestation of this Stone Age ideology and radicalism, there is nothing that has ever addressed it apart from equal strength. And why am I saying release this man? This is the only man. In short, this is the only region. The Igbo region is the only region that has the equal strength to match this equal madness. And to some certain extent, it's not even matching equal madness. Because the madness of these people is beyond even that madness that you find even in the northeast, in the southeast. Apologies to the lives that has been lost, even if now my relative life that has been lost in the course of the southeast ideology. But I am telling you, the southeast ideology was an invention of necessity. Between God and man, invention of necessity, not born out of mirage, not born out of a stupid God that cannot fight and defend himself, a stupid God that capitalizes on people to actually fight for him and to ensure that everybody does things according to the monkey God. I am telling you, that is just it. No amount of preaching, no amount of anything you will ever say. But the fact is, you are actually supposed to take the giant step, but you can't. Why? Because politics is at stake here. It's understandable. Politics is at stake because you need to remain relevant. I don't know whatever you're pursuing, but the fact is, the Odudua is getting strengthened day by day under you. Take it or leave it. But the fact is, what now becomes of people that are not of Odudua and other descent? Why do I say these people are the only people that have the strength to match this? They equally treat things as it happens. Not ruling out the fact that there are other criminalities that are associated with them, but I am telling you, this madness can only be addressed with madness. And if so be it that lives will be lost as a result of this, let lives be lost. Provided that at the end of the day, there is a hope and the fact that somebody stood fighting for something till his last breath and nothing more. But if you think with all this madness, you have a solution around it, there's no solution around it. The North doesn't have a solution around it. The good Muslims doesn't have a solution around it. Because by the time they do that now, in short, these people are ready to unalive any northerner not minding his religion, as long as he opposes this. I am telling you this sincerely. And the Yorubas are actually being liberal, political with the truth. We are all one, we are whatever. But at the end of the day, it's gradually affecting them too. I understand the concept and the move you are doing to ensure this. But the fact is, if liberality is saving the Yoruba land, liberality doesn't save the Middle Belterners that are the worst victim of this. Liberality doesn't save the Igbo man. Liberality very soon will not even save the Niger Deltas. That is just it. And that is the reality. So, you have to allow madness to match madness for these things to be addressed. What do you call this a country? For God's sake. And I hope the global world is paying attention to this. Is paying attention to this. Nigeria, a country of particular concern, where you have two ideologies actually deciding the fate of a nation. You have the radical Islamic ideology that is all about Sharia. And you now have the constitution that is to bind everybody. And you now have a sitting president presiding over this kind of a nation. And is bounded. I don't know. What is actually binding you? Is it the Sharia or the constitution of the federation? It's so unbelievable. And I am telling you, till everybody confront this thing realistically, Allah, Nigeria is not going anywhere. Take it from me. Allah, between God and man, Nigeria is not going anywhere. And nothing will change. The fact is,
I don't need to add anything else. Now here I go just leave am. My people, I go see you now later on the next one. More I enjoy the rest of our day. Thank you all very much for joining me. Ire o.